Joining us in the studio, not by herself, but in the flesh, April Brodie. Now, the facial destination?
Correct.
Called Beauty.
Beauty, the facial destination.
The facial destination. Got it. Now, beauty salon, you guys have been under enormous pressure, especially in Victoria. The challenge has been, you were told by government that, health practices were such, the conditions of COVID were challenging, you had to close down. Now, in the middle of all of that, you were required as a business owner to keep paying all the fixed business costs, all those exciting things like electricity, whether you're open or closed, rent, whether you're open or closed, and on and on and on. Licensing fees, insurance, the whole box and dice. We're about to open in Victoria. Are you any closer to getting any resolution about any of those fixed business costs? Has anyone come to the party and said, look, you've had an inordinately traumatic time, we're going to try and help you?
One person.
Ooh.
The insurers.
Oh, that's good.
The insurers were first off the bat and they were incredible. I don't often bat for insurance, but insurance...
And normally they take they've been in the gun in the past, haven't they? On certain
they were incredible.
So they've come to the party.
Yeah, they come to the party. They were incredible. They sorted everything out. They were incredible. Some banks were okay. Some banks were okay for a short period of time, and then when we got to the end of a 3-month period, they wanted to see financial statements. They even required superannuation statements.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about landlords and so?
Landlords have been really tough. As a small business owner, probably the toughest thing, and as a woman in business, it's like David and Goliath, it's really tough. Probably that was my toughest, most stressful, emotional, mental health issue was landlord.
Now, I saw an interview that you did the other day with Peter Gredlin on Sky, and it impressed me, and my wife was sitting there looking at me going, I can't believe they've taken such a fearful hit. But some of the stories you were talking about, some of the business associates of yours and others that you know, have been the anguish that they've had to endure has caused them all manner of grief. Mental and health has taken a fearful toll. Do you want to take us through some of those examples? They're not testimonials, but to give people a sense of just how hard people are doing it. It's not just that the business is closed, but it's that unbelievable weight of you've got things to address and they're not going away.
No, it has been incredibly tough. I mean, of course, most businesses run accounts, so we owe companies thousands of dollars, sometimes $20,000, $30,000 to one company, which probably doesn't sound a lot in big business. It's a lot of business when you've got to put that on your personal credit card to get on through. Some of those companies were small businesses as well. They were in a similar position to us. Mental health-wise, I can say from colleagues that I personally know, I know someone that had to sell their house immediately. I know at least 5 girls that lost babies because of the stress.
So miscarriages.
Yeah, miscarriages due to the stress. I know numerous girls that really had no money for food and had to call on family and friends. Their bills, everything was just through the roof. I just think the stress of it all and homeschooling children and worrying about the future, I just don't think nobody foresaw this happening, and the fact that nobody was going to help. There was a period when there was no government help and we were all worried what we were going to do.
Government's listening. Has government, state government, for example, listened to the plight of small business?
I think small government, for me, we did get it. They were very generous and they gave us a few handouts.
So we're talking state or federal now?
It was basically federal government. State government did very little for us, and state government, I feel, didn't listen to us. And I can honestly speak on behalf of 98% of my colleagues, we feel betrayed by the state government.
Wow. So what are the sorts of things that you would love them to do? After all, this has been a government-induced lockdown. Business normally works on how competitive you are. Well, you haven't been allowed to compete. You haven't been allowed to open your doors. In fact, you were told to close. So government surely has got to come to the party, hasn't it?
Well, it's even worse than that. Because for us, we're only allowed to do 20% of our treatments, because until we can start taking a client's mask off their face, we are unable to do 80%. A lot of clinics are unable to do 98% of their treatments. So it's like bittersweet. We
So
still can't work.
It's like tying one hand behind your back, or indeed both hands behind your back, and saying, good luck.
There you go.
Wow.
Yeah. So gyms can open.
Okay, you say gyms can open, but even they are told that certain numbers. For example, I believe Lonsdale's in the city can't open to the numbers that they'd love to open, because it's, again, all about the space. When are you likely to open? Is it fully open? When are you likely to do that? Do you have any idea?
Ask Dan, he'll tell you. We still don't know. There is still no resolution. Regional are ahead of us. They're one stage ahead of us. The girls in regional still unable to take their clients' mask off.
Wow. Landlords, you still are required to pay the full rent?
Full rent still required. I was lucky enough that I paid a negotiator. Someone came forward through friends, family and friends. I still paid them, and I negotiated till June, but I still have a lot of months left, and I had no income during that time, and how I'm going to pay that, I have no idea.
Everyone keeps telling us you can defer, but deferring doesn't help anybody. Defer just means we shift the weight of expectation and the damage bill down the road. It's still got to be paid. My view has always been, if the rules have been changed so much, people need to start looking at waiving fees, because at the end of the day, and we were speaking to a small business professional in Sydney who said, once the government assistance stops over the next few months, there will be carnage. There will be businesses that will go to the wall, because even though governments have made every best endeavour to help, they don't understand the next layer of support that they need to provide. And for me, landlords are going to have to move. They're going to have to move because the rules have moved. When you signed your original agreement, I'm sure that you signed it in good faith.
Absolutely.
Which is what Mr. Peter Allen, the Centre Group, keeps telling everybody. They signed a contract in good faith. But the problem is, no one saw this calamity coming. You know, the last time we had a calamity of this sort was 100 years ago. So why should all businesses be expected to follow what, was a contract signed at another time, another place, and when things were very, very different?
I think small business owners, and I can speak for women in business. Yep. We have to try and do everything. We have to try and be mothers. We have to try and be marketing people, HR people, and I guess we feel frightened. We try and do the best that we can do, but it gets to legalities. We're great to a certain extent, and then we have to employ people. So we rely on the other small business people or the other professionals that we employ. We're relying on them to help us. We don't have a union. We have a very small body. We don't have anyone behind us pushing. It's been incredibly tough. We really do not know how we're going to go forward. There's girls, even this morning before I came here, there was people sobbing on the phone. They just don't know how they're going to go forward. They don't understand, if you can open your doors, how you can't do treatment.
Have you been able to keep much of your staff?
I probably lost half of my staff, but I had some that were casual. I'm incredibly lucky that I've had 2 girls that have been with me for 30 years, but I can honestly say one of those girls did have to sell her home.
But that's not staff, that's almost like extended family.
That is like family, and their family is my family, and the mental health and emotional health on those girls has been incredible.
April Brodie, through The Informer, we're delighted that you could come into the studio and help tell the story. We hope that people are listening, whether it be government, whether it be entities in business, in banks, the landlords, if they're listening, hit the reset button. Make sure it's a substantial reset, because Lord knows everybody needs it going forward. April Brodie, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for hearing our voice.